news on the Harbaugh front, sort of, and then there was news with an NCAA notice of allegations that's coming to Michigan today. And we will see what that contains. Do I think that the two are related? I think they quite possibly are. When a head coach comes out and uses the words, the choice of words, I expect that I will be enthusiastically coaching Michigan in 2023. Do I think that those words were chosen in part because this thing, the coach knew this was coming? Yeah, I do. And as far as the violations themselves, hey, I don't believe in making excuses. I don't believe in pointing the finger at anybody else and saying, but they. I think you look in the mirror and you say, what did you do wrong? And you don't blame the media. You don't call it a hit piece. You just say, hey, if you screwed up, you screwed up. Now, if you didn't, you defend yourself. But you vet the entire situation. And the only way, the best way to get through these things is to take them very seriously, accept any responsibility, no matter how major, how minor they are, and set up and show that you're putting protocols or guardrails in place to never do whatever it is again. Now, there's a few things here related to rules that were in place during the COVID era, and perhaps breaking those rules. Again, if there's a degree of accountability to be taken, you take it. You own it. You stare it down. You address it. You accept your punishment. And you follow the protocols. I mean, because I just had a conversation, and here's what I actually think is going to go down. I think Michigan is going to follow the protocols, and they are going to – this is not going to amount to all that much. That's what I suspect, if they follow the protocols. Now, if the coach has a culpability of misleading during an investigation, he is going to be the one that has to, answer to that. And again, be forthright and honest and accept the punishment. Now, we can get into other issues. There are other issues that's surrounding this, like, hey, if you're going to enforce this, enforce it with everybody. Because it feels like in this day and age, it's very difficult to get dinged by the NCAA for anything, right? I mean, this is an era where things have changed rapidly, and things that used to be considered cheating are not. There seems to be a lot of lines blurred and a lot of ambiguity as to what the rules are as it pertains to other issues. But I think you just need to accept whatever punishment is doled out and move forward. Now, was Harbaugh, if you connect dots, you can make you could draw the conclusion that Harbaugh is open to another job if this thing really comes down on him. But again, I just talked to somebody and said if they follow, typical NCAA damage control protocol, this likely won't amount to much. But we await the actual letter that is coming into Michigan, reportedly today. But 248-539-9797. I'm intrigued to know what Michigan fans think of this. Khang, we had a quick conversation about this before the show. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I for a lot of these things, I'll wait for the NCAA to come out, with their findings and their real, statement and violations and all that before I make I take a real stance on it. But generally, I'm with you. If there's a violation found or multiple violations, you got to take your punishment. You got to admit to your wrongdoing, and you got to put up the guardrails, like you said, and what won't happen anymore, what won't happen again, things like that, and take your punishment. That's what you got to do. Do I think that obviously Michigan and Harbaugh knew this was coming before the public, right? Before the Athletic or Yahoo or ESPN reports on things like that. So do I think that was taken into account when Jim makes a statement about his future with Michigan? Probably. But me, you know how I feel about the Jim Harbaugh situation. I think when you have a coach like Jim Harbaugh, he might leave every year if he has success. I think that's just part of the gig when you have a coach like that. So even if Jim came out and said, if they'll have me or I expect to be back, even if he said, hey, I'm coming back. I'm not going anywhere. I personally wouldn't believe him 100% because that's the type of that's where I'm at with him. That's where I'm at with those type of coaches. They have really good years. The NFL is going to want them, and they have this itch. And sometimes it needs to be scratched. Maybe it won't be scratched. But with these possible violations coming up, maybe it was going to be scratched more so than last year because, suspension is a possibility, right, Doug?
Mm-hmm.
The weird thing is the COVID year violations, right?
Yep.
Those are put in place for the COVID year. Is that an excuse? Doesn't matter, like you said.
Doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not into that.
Mm-hmm.
That's, it feels like everybody will turn when the microscope's on them, they turn, and I'm like, look, we know how these things work, and typically, if you follow the protocols and show them you're serious, then these things don't amount to all that much. Now, could it if Michigan, if you continue, or if they did mislead him, if they do it again, and I'm saying if it could get worse, but
also, like I said, that Harbaugh and Michigan, obviously, they knew about these before the public did. Didn't Ward recently issue a statement saying, in support of Jim Harbaugh coming back?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Or the president also?
The president did say something.
Okay.
Yeah, the president did say we hope to have him back.
Yeah, that's okay. Maybe that's the one I was thinking of. But
Yep.
So, knowing that and still saying, "Hey, we want Jim Harbaugh back," I don't think Michigan's gonna get rid of Jim Harbaugh over this. Doesn't sound like it to me.